I hope you can hear me. I have my AirPods in and I'm walking. But I am headed to a coffee shop nearby to try to get some work done and be productive because I have a crap ton of work to do. Oh my god, there's so much sound happening right now. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to cut out so much of this. But I have a crap ton of work to do and I absolutely cannot be productive at home right now. I'm just so tired. Hold on, I have to cross the street. Okay, like I was saying, I have a crap ton of work to do and I just absolutely cannot be productive at home. I have to start seriously working on my proposal again. I also have that paper to work on, the co-author paper that I'm working on with people from my lab. The lead author wants a rough draft by next Friday, 7 days, and I have yet to start working on my section. So yeah, we're gonna try to get as much of that done today as possible so that I'm less stressed next week. So it is official that vlogging while walking is the hardest thing I've ever done. And I will probably never do this again. So everyone is looking at me. It's really uncomfortable. But yeah, I'm almost to the coffee shop, so I'm gonna do some work and I'll be back later. Oh my god, the sun. Hi. It has been some months since I recorded anything for this dissertation diary. So the last clip that came before this one, I believe I recorded, if I'm remembering correctly, I recorded in like the beginning of February. It is now the middle of May. And I have literally just finished the full draft of my dissertation proposal. I have been working on it steadily, but very slowly over the past, what has it been, 3.5 months? Honestly, because like the way my mental health was going, I was just not able to sit down and focus on this proposal. So I would literally write a section, send that section draft to my advisor, get feedback on it, and then I wouldn't touch my proposal again for weeks at a time. Also, excuse the voice. As usual, I got sick right after the semester ended, and I'm still in recovery. I'm very congested. I was sick for 5 days. It's hard to talk, but I need to record and document this moment. So yeah, like I said, worked on it very slowly. Finally, once the meds that I started to work and alleviated a lot of my anxiety that I had been feeling so chronically and so severely, I was finally able to sit down and focus and work on this for extended periods of time. For example, today I've been working on it since 11 a.m. It's now almost 6. It's 5:48 p.m. And obviously I took intermittent breaks, every hour or so I would take a short break, but I've been sitting at this desk working on this since 11 a.m. And like had no problem doing that whatsoever. Whereas in the beginning of the semester, I couldn't sit down and look at this for longer than like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe an hour max if it was a good day. So all of that said, I have finally gotten it done. I'm about to send this full draft over to my advisor, and hopefully she reviews it and says everything looks good, and then I will be able to send it over to my committee, and then I will be defending in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna turn my camera around and show you like how long it is and stuff. Okay, so we are at a little over 12.5 thousand words. That is 49 pages. Those 49 pages includes my title page, my abstract page, my proposal itself, and my references, and my 2 appendices. I have an Appendix A and an Appendix B. And my proposal itself is separated into 3 chapters. The first chapter is my lit review. The second chapter is my methods for study 1. And chapter 3 is my methods for study 2, because I'm doing 2 studies for my dissertation. So I think if I did the math correctly, a little less than half of, or a little more than half of those 49 pages, so like 26 pages, I think, are my actual proposal. The other, oh God, what is that? 23? The other 23 pages are my title page, my abstract page, the references, and the 2 appendices. So 26 pages for my actual proposal is like literally perfect, because I think it needed to be like 15 to 30. And I think that was like inclusive of references and stuff, but obviously I'm doing 2 studies and one of them's qualitative, so naturally I'm going to go over that. But yeah, okay, it's done and it's getting submitted, or not submitted, sent to my advisor right now. So I will probably be back a little later, if not later than like some other day, and hopefully at that point my advisor has reviewed it and I can talk about that. But oh my God, I'm very, very happy to get it done, and my hand is shaking from holding my phone so much. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'll be back at some point eventually. Hi, it has been many days later. And by many days I mean like my defense is in like 2 days. So I think I last checked in when I sent my proposal to my advisor. And since then, I met with her, and she had just a couple of points of feedback, nothing like super major, which was amazing. And she pretty much told me like, yeah, it looks really good. You can go ahead, make these couple of edits, and then send it to the committee. So that's what I did. And I'm defending in 2 days. And have I finished working on my presentation yet? Of course not. So that is what I'm doing right now, because one of my patients this morning is sick, and so she has canceled our session, and I decided to take the free hour. Oh my God, what is this on my screen? I decided to use the free extra hour to work on a presentation. So that is what I'm doing. I'm also in the couch in my office, by the way. It's a very cozy couch, and the pillows are very soft. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'm feeling pretty good about my proposal, especially after my advisor read through it and basically told me that it looked great. Her exact words were, "It looks very strong." And you all don't know my advisor, but for people who know my advisor, when she says things like that, that is basically her telling you that you're gonna pass. And I also feel pretty confident because my other two committee members, one has also been working with me pretty closely on this. And so she's already sort of familiar with it too. And I don't think she'll have like any sort of feedback that would hinder me from passing. If anything, she'll just ask a bunch of questions about the quant portion of my study, which she's less familiar with. She's been helping me more with the qualitative portion of it. So like her, I'm not worried about. And then my third committee member, I know for a fact he will have a lot of questions, but they won't be questions that like I'm not prepared for, I don't think, because I know who, like I know him and I'm familiar with the types of questions that he asks people. So I think I'll be able to prepare for whatever questions I think he might ask me. And in general, I feel like the kinds of questions I might get will focus primarily on my methods because I'm doing a mixed methods study, and I'm bound, like I'm definitely going to get a bunch of questions about why I chose to do a mixed methods study, why I'm doing what I'm doing for the quant portion, why I'm doing what I'm doing for the qual portion, how they both inform each other. I'm almost certain that that's going to be the bulk of the questions I get. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As far as the actual defense goes, it's going to be virtual. And actually, oh my God, the scheduling has been a pain in the ass. So I actually had to delay my defense by a few days. It is now like the beginning of June. I had to delay my defense by a few days because I provided a couple of dates and none of the dates I offered worked for all three of my committee members. And so this is where we're at. But thankfully, it won't hinder anything. I already reached out to my school and told them that this was the date I was going to defend, and they said it was fine. And so we're all good there. But in terms of the actual defense, it's going to be about, my advisor said typically proposal defenses have been about an hour-ish, but to allow or allot for an hour and a half just in case. So it'll be like a 40-minute presentation by me, followed by like 5 to 10 minutes of questions. And then they will put me in the waiting room on Zoom while they discuss and make a final decision. And then they will bring me back into the room and let me know whether I've passed without revisions, passed with revisions, if they need me to make major revisions and, you know, do whatever, defend again, I don't really know. But like I said, based on the feedback she has already given me on it, I think that's very unlikely. I think I'm more than likely to pass with revisions, if any, with like minor revisions. So thankfully, because she sort of gave me that pre-defense feedback on everything, I'm not feeling as anxious about it as I think I would have been feeling if I didn't speak to her and if she didn't say that ahead of time. So yeah, I'm gonna keep working on my presentation. I'm hoping that I can get it done by tonight, so that tomorrow I actually have a lab meeting, and I'm hoping that I can do a practice run in my lab meeting and get some feedback from my lab mates, and then I'll be prepared for my actual defense in a couple of days. So hopefully that all goes to plan, and I will be back probably more than likely the day of my defense. So I'll see you then. But first, I wanted to introduce our first sponsored collaboration to the channel, SciSpace. SciSpace offers a suite of AI-powered tools designed to enhance the way we interact with academic content to empower researchers, students, and people who just have curious minds. SciSpace is a research search engine, a notebook, a paraphraser, a citation generator, all in one. I actually found out about SciSpace, I want to say like a year ago, maybe a little bit less. And I've like used it in conjunction with all of my other, research resources that I've been using. But it like really came in clutch the past few months. Honestly, if I were to go through every research tool that SciSpace offers, I would be here forever. And I'm sure neither of us wants that. But one of my go-to tools that I've been using a lot lately, especially with like finishing up my dissertation proposal, is SciSpace's Copilot. All you have to do is upload a PDF of an article, or you can search SciSpace's repository for a research paper, and Copilot will help you read it. You can get easy explanations and summaries for any paragraph, any math, any figure, any table. You can ask follow-up questions for any concept that you don't understand, and you can even archive these chats so you can come back to them in the future if you need to. Y'all know I'm always trying to gather resources to share with you all that will make this journey just a little bit easier for you. And with SciSpace Premium, you'll get access to the full range of all of their tools. So if you want to give SciSpace a try, which I recommend, you can go to the link on screen and use code JoJo20 for 20% off a monthly membership to SciSpace Premium, or you can use code JoJo40 for 40% off of a yearly membership. And with that, thank you to SciSpace for being the first sponsor of the channel. Good afternoon. It is, hold on, time, 12:05. It is 12:05. It's Proposal Defense Day. Why does my face look so, the color looks so weird? I don't know. It's Proposal Defense Day. I am defending in a little less than an hour. It's at 1 o'clock. The closer it gets to 1 o'clock, the more nervous I'm feeling. I was like completely fine when I woke up this morning, and yeah, now I'm like, my tummy's feeling a little not like. This morning I woke up and I'm trying to find like decent lighting because I don't know what is going on with the lighting in here today. Yeah, I woke up this morning and I tried to force myself to eat something, so I just had a bagel and I made some coffee. I've started drinking coffee again. Not super regularly though, like every couple of days I'll have a cup of coffee. And I don't make it as strong as I used to, but that's besides the point. I tried to make myself eat something and I did. And then I started making a few edits to my presentation because I did like a dry run through yesterday in my lab meeting. I had a lab meeting yesterday and I did a run through of it just to practice. And I got a lot of really good and really helpful feedback. And so I added a couple of slides, I removed a couple of things, I've adjusted my notes. I basically have like an entire script written out so that I don't forget anything in my notes. So I'm feeling okay. Yeah, I don't know what this nervous feeling is. I don't know if it's just because like I'm doing a presentation and in general presentations make me nervous. I don't feel like I'm nervous that I won't pass because again, I feel like my advisor has read through my proposal and she said it looks great. And yesterday when I did the run through in my lab meeting, she was like, it looks great. I'm so excited for tomorrow. So I don't have any worries that I won't pass. I think all of this that I'm feeling is just, I don't really like that, like when you're doing your dissertation, you are meant to be the expert on that topic. And I feel like I get it, right? Like you've been researching this thing for so long, you put your heart and soul into this project, and you've read, theoretically, you've read everything there is to read on this subject, and therefore you should know what you're talking about. You should be an expert. But I feel like that puts a lot of pressure on me because I already have like major imposter syndrome. I never fully feel like I know what I'm doing ever. And so knowing that that's the mindset I'm supposed to have, and that's the expectation people have of me, is that I'm the expert on this topic, it makes me really nervous. Like I can 99% guarantee you that there is something on this subject that I don't know. And if you just happen to know that 1% that I don't know, and you ask me about that 1%, you're gonna expect me to know it, and I won't. And then I'm gonna feel like I look like an idiot. Long story short, yeah, that's what it is. I'm just afraid of looking stupid. But yeah, I am going to go relax for the next however long I have left. I think like 50 minutes probably. I am all dressed already, as you can see. My makeup's done, my hair is done. Oh, I don't have earrings in. I'm gonna go put earrings in. But yeah, for the next, 50 minutes, I'm just going to sit and breathe, and hopefully this will go by really quickly. I am suddenly freaking out. It's 1 o'clock on the dot, and I have the Zoom open. And I'm just waiting for everyone to enter the waiting room so I can let them in.
All right, hi. Sorry, I feel like we don't give you a heads up to say we're bringing you back in. Okay, so whenever you're ready.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Okay, go ahead, get the presentation started. So, I first want to thank you all for being here today. I really appreciate everyone's flexibility with the scheduling. I know once we get into June, things can get a bit tricky. So again, just thank you for being here and for working with me. So today I will be defending my dissertation proposal, the working title of which is a mixed methods examination of family connectedness, storytelling, and intergenerational trauma in Black families. So before we start, this is just a quick guide of what I'll be covering today. I'll first start with a brief introduction of myself before diving into the literature. I'll begin with a bit of information about the frameworks I'll be using, followed by a review of the existing literature. And then I'll go into my proposed study, which will include my research questions, my methodology, how I plan to implement the study, and planned data analyses. And then I will conclude with a brief statement on clinical implications. I feel that a focus of research efforts on intergenerational trauma and storytelling within Black families is vital for equitable mental health care. Long term, this area of research could really inform how clinicians conceptualize and support conversations about trauma with Black patients and families in therapy. Additionally, understanding the significance and impact of storytelling within Black families who have experienced trauma could influence the development of culturally and trauma-informed family interventions. And these are my references, and that's it. Thank you again for your time, and the floor is open for questions.
Okay, so I think now would be a good time to go to the waiting room, we convene, and then we bring her back with our decision.
All right.
All right, see you in a few minutes.
See you in a bit. All right, now we wait.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back, and congratulations, PhD candidate.
Thank you so much.
You have successfully defended your dissertation proposal.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Hi. I needed to decompress for a little bit. I want to say it's been like 30 minutes. I changed because I wanted to get comfy again. But yeah, as you all saw, I passed my dissertation proposal defense. I passed without revisions, which is amazing. Yeah, I guess I just wanted to talk to y'all a little bit about what that was like, because I don't know, I knew sort of what it was going to be like going into it based off of things my colleagues who have already defended their proposals said to me. But I don't know, I was a little bit shocked by how formal it felt. Like, I knew sort of what the procedure was going to be, but it felt very formal. Like, and I think that's a result of like who my advisor and dissertation chair is. She's someone who takes research very seriously. And I knew this when I decided to ask her to be my chair. But from what I've heard from most of my colleagues, like their proposal defenses weren't anything like mine was. And I think even one of my committee members was like, oh, we're being very formal. And my advisor was like, yeah, just like dotting our I's, crossing our T's, just to make sure that there's no, confusion. And I was like, true, okay. But yeah, so once all of my committee members were present, they put me in the waiting room. I had to make my advisor the host of the meeting so that she could put me in the waiting room, so that they could, discuss and prepare for my presentation. I don't exactly know what they said. I was in the waiting room for like a few minutes. And when they brought me back, I started my presentation. My presentation took about a little over 20 minutes, which I was told to aim for like 30 max. And so I made a really good time. It was funny because when I was making my presentation, I had like 20 slides. And when I was making my presentation, it felt like, oh my God, this is so long. I'm gonna take like 45 minutes to get through all of this. And when I did the dry run yesterday in my lab meeting, it took me about 30 minutes. But that's because like I hadn't written my notes yet. So I was sort of like stumbling and trying to remember things I wanted to say, which is why I ended up writing all of my notes for the presentation. And I think that's part of why it went so quickly today, is because like all of my thoughts were already written out and I was literally just like reading from my notes on the side of the screen. And so my presentation as a whole took a little over 20 minutes. And then it was about 20 minutes of questions, where like they did basically ask me the kinds of questions I anticipated being asked about like my chosen methods and like things like potential issues that might come up along the way, my theoretical foundation, all of that. At 2:00 on the dot, my advisor put me back in the waiting room so that they could deliberate and make their decision. And it was very quick. I wasn't in that waiting room for longer. I couldn't have been in there longer than like a minute and a half. But they brought me back and I passed without revisions. And then we just talked a little bit longer. They were just saying like I did a great job, and they're here to offer any support that I might need in moving forward and implementing this. And I need to submit my IRB now and all of that. So yeah, we just talked a little bit about what next steps are gonna look like, and then I was done. So yeah, the whole thing took a few minutes over an hour, which I anticipated. But yeah, now I don't really know what I'm gonna do for the rest of the day. I think I'm just, actually, there's a cake I've been wanting to bake for a really long time, and I just haven't had the time. And I think that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna bake myself a cake. something that I don't think I've spoke about this at all, but I really enjoy baking. It's like a de-stress activity for me. So I think that's what I'm gonna go do and just enjoy the rest of my day. Yeah, so I actually think this is where this diary is gonna end. And then I'll pick up sometime over the summer when I'm like getting into the groove of implementing my study. So yeah, things are on a roll now. I hit this milestone, and now things are just gonna start moving. So yeah, thank you for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. I truly appreciate it. I hope the journey so far has been interesting and insightful, and I'm hoping that you're getting to see a little bit of what this process looks like, because there can be a lot of like mystification around it, and you just sort of know that it's a thing you have to do, but you're not sure exactly how to do it. So I'm hoping that by recording this process, it's opening that window a little bit so you can see. But yeah, leave me a comment down below if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. And as always, like, share, and subscribe, and click that little notification bell so you don't miss my next upload. And I'll see you in my next one.